Good evening and welcome to Congressional Race Rundown. I'm your host, Jenny Matthews. Today we will be analysing the results of the Florida Senate election and the Florida District 27 election. We will start with the results of the Senate election. Anna, thank you for being here again tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. The senatorial election mirrored the narrow margins of a presidential election in Florida. While we had predicted former Senator Bill Nelson to win by 2 points, the race resulted in an even closer margin and a different winner entirely as Scott edged out Nelson by a mere 0.2%. That equals out to about 10,000 votes making the difference.
What do you suspect the reasons why we underestimated Scott's success? In other words, why did Nelson lose unexpectedly even though almost all polls predicted otherwise?
I'd say the first reason is that Nelson's typical incumbency advantages were worth much less than usual. First, Scott outraised him by $69 to $28 million. With that money, Scott was able to bolster his advertising in a manner that Nelson just couldn't match. Second, Scott was a quality challenger and had a recognizable name due to serving as Florida governor for 8 years. Also important to mention is that Nelson failed to associate Scott with Trump enough. As can be seen from this graph that compares Nelson's portion of the Latino vote from 2012 to 2018, Latino voters supported Scott at a much higher rate than they did Mac in 2012, despite the fact that Latinos largely view Trump unfavorably. Nationally, however, support for Democratic candidates increased among Latinos in 2018. When considering the approval rating of Trump among Latinos, Nelson should have taken a much larger portion of the Latino vote. So when taking into consideration that Scott was a quality challenger and that Nelson failed to associate him with the unpopular president, it's no surprise that Nelson lost.
Thanks for your insight, Anna. Now let's move on to the House election for District 27. Melissa, if you had to give one word to describe this race, what would it be?
Well, I would say that the results were predictable. In fact, as we predicted in our last show, Donna Shalala defeated Maria Salazar by exactly 6 points. This could be expected because it was an open seat election in a district with split results in favor of Clinton and the Republican House candidate in 2016. Florida 27 was also considered the most Democratic district to still have had a Republican House member. Once Ross Layton retired, it was Democrats' seat to win. So it should have been obvious that Shalala would take this race. Furthermore, Shalala's money advantage proved to be as important as we expected. As can be seen by this chart, in 16 open seat elections that switched party power, 14 of the 16 winners both outraised and outspent their opponent, including Shalala. It should be interesting to watch the Florida 27 House election in 2020 because it is the first time since the district's creation in 2012 that they have had a Democratic representative. I suggest that 2020 will be yet another test of the Democratic nature of this district.
Thank you, Melissa. All in all, these races followed trends from across the country. A weak Democrat incumbent lost to a strong Republican challenger in the Senate, thus leading to the Republicans retaining their majority. However, in Florida District 27, an open seat was flipped to the Democratic Party, thus contributing to the Democrats taking control of the House and making this a deviating election. With a divided government of the 116th Congress, it'll be very interesting to see if anything actually gets done in the next 2 years. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jenny Matthews and you were watching the Congressional Race Rundown.